and now it's all about FNATIC.
Yeah, I think the main thing as well for them, though, is the I actually almost feel like it'll be relief. They've been a team since pretty much the very first international event that people were expecting to win something. They got 3-0'd in that first final, and the story was that it all came back around for lock-in. I almost feel like, although there'll still be pressure, of course, expectations, no doubt, they are a team that have now got over that hurdle. They can win events, and they are definitely the favorite when it comes to this matchup.
All right, well, we are done mucking around and waiting. The first map between Team Liquid and FNATIC starts here in this best of 3. Lotus, Haven, and Fracture to see us all the way through, of course. Fracture only required if we get all the way to 3. I think before, if you had a few expectations of given the way this draft has gone, that FNATIC might just 2-0 here, but Liquid, as we know, have got a point to prove.
Yeah, for sure. And they've got a lot of fire and flair alongside them as well. So FNATIC definitely have to be careful. An aggressive start over towards that A site, taking that early map control, and you can see instantaneously Sayf already back on their rotation. Looking to get back into spot over on the other side of the map, but the patience of FNATIC is almost, okay, you can challenge for that early map control, but that doesn't mean we're not going to go back for it.
At this point, it's only the Sky left on this side of the map as well. Jamppi may be in for a bit of a rude awakening. Does, of course, have a little bit of stall potential with the dog and the bird to come over the top if so required. Bring out the whole menagerie and see if you can hold them back. But with that read coming in, they know that it's gone off, and now that's when FNATIC look to try and move their way in. They've got themselves marching on forwards, although are on the other side of this smoke.
It does seem like Liquid are fairly convinced this is still going to be a C hit. Even though that control has been reclaimed, the flash from Jamppi is going to give him the information that there are still players here, but he is yet to garner any support from a teammate. And now spotting that deep control, well, you can already see Sayf running his little legs back over.
3 of them just charging on over. I'm curious to know if the Omen sticks close to them and watches for Baby Door here, because up mid there is a potential walking coming in from the Astra too. And here we go. This is the rotate I was on about. Doubles back pretty quickly here and may be able to get in just in time, but it's already been smoked off. FNATIC have got B control. Here we go with this plank coming down, and we have seen this CAB rotate so many times on this map since the start of the stage.
Oh, that's not the start they were hoping for, but a decent trade from soulcas. Will survive on his last legs. 13 HP available to him once he gets back out of that Viper screen. It's dangerous as well, especially with Leo holding that frenzy, and Boaster still lurking around the back lines. Leo getting aggressive, leaving just 2 remain.
Boaster's just been the anti-player this round, whether his team or not, he is, and he's made it count. Redgar finding one back the other way, but it's a 3 versus 2 with a spike still to be defused. It feels like FNATIC have all the control they need now. Boaster comes in for the active engagement, gonna find Nats, and it's an easy closeout from Chronicle too. Great first round for FNATIC. Brilliant flanking play coming out from Boaster.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do throughout this game, is not only have the lurk of Alpha initially to try and catch off those rotations from A, but then also have the secondary lurk. Like, Boaster was playing very passive, just basically lurking off of his utility, and you see towards the end, paint shells from Derke held late into the round, Gravwell used after that. There was little to no time for Liquid to do anything, and even then there were still 3 players to stand behind. They have already been a master of afterplants in the past, and by the looks of it, they're going to be that again.
I kind of called him the anti-player throughout, because when we saw all of FNATIC moving over towards A side, you had Boaster looking his way to work through mid and catch any potential rotators coming in through the B side itself. They'd already gone past, but then once they rotated themselves in towards B, he moved over towards A. So it was just good balancing around, maintaining a similar level of distance between both sides, between himself and the rest of his team, but still enough to make an impact, as we saw in the close towards that round. So FNATIC starting out pretty slow in that first round, just kind of feeling out exactly where the push is coming through, and here kind of baiting Liquid forward. They did not sprint forward for the orb as they did in the previous round, and Liquid think, okay, maybe it's safe to take. Turns out it's absolutely not.
Yeah, FNATIC are being very methodical. Like, even using nano swarms to clear the close to rubble. Just having these crossfire setups, so any double swings are not going to allow for any real level of damage. And with 2 kills now on the A side of the map, they basically have it for free. Nat's the only one here, and the man has a classic.
And just making great use of the range as well, right? Holding back, not looking to get aggressive and push forward too fast and take a risk running into a Sheriff, for example. Going to sit here straight on top of the name, mind you. Nat's down to very, very low HP at this point. As FNATIC have control of the site, will find one, but immediately Chronicle is there for the trade. Down goes the spike. It's just 1 left alive for Redgar. 2-0 for FNATIC, pretty much guaranteed, unless there is a miraculous clutch coming out here.
But the thing is, any kills from this point onwards are actual damage. Like, there was 1 player who had a pistol, that was Leo. He's retrieved the gun. Anybody else who dies, that will drop a weapon on the dirt, and there you go. Alpha gonna fall. Redgar as well with another through the wall. That is decent damage for a round that looked like it was going to be almost for free for FNATIC. Liquid make it costly.
Well, we knew we had to find those headshot kills coming in with the Sheriff, talking about how much of a beast it can be in these second and third rounds, depending on where the economy sits. And as you say, those 2 kills in the close, definitely inflicting some unnecessary damage on the side of FNATIC, maybe getting a little bit relaxed there in the close. Do find the closeout regardless.
Chronicle, okay, so going into the Logitech G power-up round, Chronicle has bought himself an Odin, and is he about to pre-fire spam where Sayf is going to push up? This could be one of the nastiest things I've ever seen, while Sayf bypasses it. Still taking a little bit of damage on the way back through, but this is almost a direct counter to what is being attempted on the other side.
And they're trying to shoot back as well, which is the real risk that he's running here as well. I mean, a Guardian, sure, versus a Nodin, not really one you want to bring into it, but it's still the point of threat. It did just go over his left shoulder earlier as well, so it was dangerously close to connecting a few more bullets and potentially netting an early kill. But what I love about this is it suppresses the side of Liquid. They can't push up and try and push deep here and force them away from A. They kind of have to sit quite passively, as you're seeing out of the sky really far back. This is the same style of hold that we saw from Liquid back in round 1, a very heavy stack over towards C, expecting that FNATIC will commit towards that.
Yeah, it's the same again as well from FNATIC though. It's like, okay, you have gone for that early aggression. We're now going to use our utility to clear all of that out, make sure there's not so many risks, and just basically deny any of those aggressive spots that you want to take, which again, when you're playing a Neon, is something you desperately need to be doing.
It's the constant orbs as well. They've already got 2 or 3 this round. They've denied the A1 away so far because of the Odin. They're looking for a third. You know, 3 orbs is nothing to turn your nose up at. Really good control so far from FNATIC of the map. Just collecting the resources and then looking to make a push happen. This time it does look to be into C.
Viper util denying them. 20 seconds left on the clock. Oh, Nats goes down, but again, you're right. They're going to double back in towards this B site. Redgar has the read. Waiting on the cross, watching for anybody make that push through, and he peeks in and just gets domed. A clean take in towards the site. There is nothing that Liquid can do in this position. Very, very easy from FNATIC, and even with a late rotation, Liquid could do nothing.
Not a full buy coming into the round either. We did saw the Guardians, for example. It just wasn't fully stacked up and ready to deal with this FNATIC team. But I think even outside of that, even had all things been equal, you still would have put FNATIC down as the winners. Again, the control of all 3 orbs, the way they slowly move their way through and then double back on towards B. It feels like the classic go-to play on the attacking half of Lotus is to choose the C or the A, and if you see enough defensive utility committed towards holding you back, you force your way straight across into B because the rotate is so damn quick.
Yeah, I think this next round is where we might have to see Liquid properly challenge for that map control, because again, they've been taking it very early. We've seen that in multiple rounds, A site being fought for just to try and hold that in the early stages of the round, but then after not spotting anything, they give it up. Now FNATIC have been very content to go, okay, we'll just wait until maybe a little bit after the minute mark, and then we're just going to start taking that control a bit later. Now, it does mean that maybe time could become a factor later on, but they've done very well at just finding those openers, and then whenever the rotation has come in from Liquid, they go back towards that B site.
It's a few really awkward rounds, because even here, they're not going to be able to get anything near a buy coming out.
That was their full buy in the last, even though it had pieces missing.
That's what I'm going to say. Even with it being an air quotes full buy round, it still wasn't a full buy, right? And that's the danger. You know, yesterday, I think most of the games that we cast 4 rounds in, we saw the timeouts coming through to get the reset energy back online, and often it wouldn't work, but you start asking that question already. Do Liquid need a little bit of a breather here? I like it.
I love how Chronicle's job has just become spam the wall at the beginning of the round and try and stop them taking that control.
Very reminiscent of Ascent.
He's still going to push up on this. Now, obviously, if Chronicle continues to just spam this wall, there's a chance that he'll go down. Does have a little bit of support from Leo, and again, these orbs are just being battled for across the map. Nice shot from Redgar. I think the majority of kills so far that Liquid have been him with the Sheriff.
Yeah. And really, when that shot only contributing, you know, factor, I guess, it starts asking questions about where the rest will come from. Sayf here trying to get nice and close, Guardian in hand. The only buy that they actually had at the start of this round really was that rifle, of course, outside of 3 Sheriffs as we saw previously. It's not enough to establish full control, but FNATIC acknowledging, okay, it's not really worth giving up 2 or 3 players here on the push for an orb when we know we're already down 1 man. So their goal, it appears to be to rotate over towards A here. May even try and make a hit going through tree. Door is popped out. More of a bait than anything else, and may try to go instead via main.
Well, they've got the lockdown. That's the thing. If they want to try and make this that little bit safer, they can throw the lockdown in. Timing for Jamppi again. They're going to be caught out as they head into the B site. Now the lockdown put into play. They have a showstopper if they need it as well. Sayf's just gone past.
Right.
He's just gone past.
10 seconds
I don't think they even realize, but the steps are eventually going to be heard by Derke, realizing they're still here, and then he swings off the back of that lockdown and just takes off both heads.
There he is himself. The king awakens for the first time on this day from his slumber. And even in the 4 versus 5, sure, they had the rifle advantage. But again, fantastic macro play, baiting all of Liquid over towards A, and then making use of that smoke in towards mid to go straight to B, get the spike down, pop the Killjoy ultimate. Fantastic, again, macro play coming out of FNATIC. I mean, look at this. Between 4 players on the side of Liquid, there's 2 kills.
Well, the other thing as well, right? So they've got 6 total. 3 of them are Sheriff kills. So it actually is just, it's just Redgar so far. There's only been a little bit of damage. Economy on the side of FNATIC is great, even though they're buying an Odin in on the attack side, which is their top player, by the way. I will be enjoying the fact if he ends up with a Viper's Pit. Okay, they've actually swapped the gun over, maybe for that exact reason. Alpha looks a little bit more shaky, I'll be honest. Like when I see Chronicle doing that, it looks like sort of clean, accurate, whereas I want to see Alpha's face and see if he was cackling while he was doing that.
No, he's pretty damn serious. Just holding it down, doing the job of a Sentinel too. I mean, the fact that he's got such powerful lockdown here on the one side means that A, for all intents and purposes, is off limits to the side of Liquid. He's like, yeah, this gun's crap, man. Get me out. Get me back on the rifle. But clearly it's for a reason, as every single player is starting to walk their way forwards here. Maybe there's a read into the fact the Odin has stopped firing though, and Liquid should maybe start to expect this, because yet again, they have 3 players stacked up on C.
But this time they're pushing. This is a different ball game altogether. The last few rounds, they've been passive. The Tiger also finding them early, although after them stunning up the players, they're going to rotate a little bit more safely instead and actually double up into the B site, maybe? No. They're going to go all the way back around to A. If this ends up on the B site again, I think we have problems. Instead, though, an easy entry off the showstopper. It'll be free for FNATIC.
This is when they pulled the play around last time and went in towards B, which is why we've got Redgar holding on B this time, expecting the B hit to come through. The difference this time is FNATIC have read that super well, anticipating the response coming out of Liquid, and have gone in towards A. Derke playing at the bottom of the rope here, finds himself one. Sadly flashed out for a couple of seconds, but Leo going to pick up the pieces to keep things going.
Yeah, and they're being shut down from all angles. Nat's already making the decision to try and save, but he's going to be hunted down as well. Derke across the board, 5-0. FNATIC decimating Liquid at the moment, and this is their map choice.
That's what I was going to say.
They wanted to play this one.
A timeout has to come in. There's a lot of hard places to take FNATIC to. Really, Pearl feels like the only place who might have some success at this stage. And as we know, it's a FNATIC perma ban. So there's a reason for that. And they're very grateful for the fact they get that ban. But those first 5 rounds, it has been like FNATIC playing with a dog toy. They've just been throwing them around the map, leading them astray, oftentimes as well. And it almost feels like they have the perfect read on what the movements from Liquid are going to be. Every time they move towards A, that's when Liquid rotate over. They split in towards B. When we see the C hit coming in, they fast rotate in towards B again. B is kind of that get out of jail free card when you realize there's too much being invested in A. And really that 5th round was the first time that we saw a response from Liquid. Redgar, as I mentioned, stuck around, holding the other side of Baby Door, expecting to see a push to come in. But FNATIC, it was kind of a double bluff, just hard committed in towards the A site.
Yeah, I think I actually want to see them properly try and take some of that map control away. Because there was a moment in the previous round where it looked like they were going to push C, try and shut down Boaster in the backlines and get a quick flank in. Instead, maybe because of the information found by Jamppi, they decided against that. And I feel like there's now been a lot of situations, like Jamppi at the bottom of the board, but I'm not going to sit here and blame him for that because he has been on an island. Like, he's isolated over on that A side of the map every single time, and he's getting them that information, but there never seems to be any support in time for him to actually be able to do anything. So I think, again, either you have to push up on A, try and hold on to that map control, which has been difficult. FNATIC have been very methodical at clearing out those angles, or just take something away. Because if you give FNATIC the whole map to execute, well, you might as well DC from the server now and move on to the next one.
That's the way it's feeling, and I think it tells the story when you haven't really seen or felt the presence of a single player on the other side who's really going for a spray down, and soulcas has to dip away. Thankfully, the heal coming out of the sky going to top him back up again, but of course, that armor, not recoverable.
I love the fact that their plan in this round is, I'm going to buy a Guardian, and I'm just going to try and wallbang him back. I want to point out, Chronicle took a total of 0 damage while you were trying to counter that, so maybe not the greatest plan ever. Alpha as well, whichever it was playing with that Odin, didn't even take a point.
A little bit of pressure in towards C, and The problem is, I know that they want to go aggressive. Look towards mid, for example. There's two of them trying to push their way through.
God.
But the thing is, FNATIC have backed away. Every time there has been pressure towards an orb, almost like, you know, Liquid want to fight them off the orb, FNATIC are like, okay, then we'll just rotate somewhere else. We don't mind giving up the orb because of how fast we're rotating through these rounds. And here we go on a push again. soulcas maybe kicking himself a little bit that he didn't get a single kill there. But reminder once more, we have got Liquid playing in an eco.
Yeah, not the greatest weaponry. They're going to know there's a man on site again, but it's just a ruse. It's just a ruse being sold. He's trying to bait them in that he's already gone. Nice shot from Jamppi, but the rest of the team have gone. And look where they've gone. An empty C site awaits them. They're going to use the Nightfall, which will tell them everything is completely clear, and Afterplant almost guaranteed. And as you mentioned, some of the weaponry weaker, they've at least retrieved the rifle.
Yes, they had the second Guardian rotated back over as well, and they're going to even commit the ult here as well. A little bit of respect being shown to Liquid that they have got some weaponry on side that needs to be dealt with. That Viper's Pit now being deployed across bomb, across sites itself. Looking good.
Oh, the turret placed behind. Is it actually going to spot Jamppi?
No way.
It's not. He's going to get
Open the
past
lava.
it. He still manages to get a kill, and that's huge. They have to clear him out. He might get caught in the Tiger. We're still using it for a second, but they start to lose the battles. In fact, all of them fall. Jamppi's the only one remaining. It looked like there was a chance in this round for Liquid, but again, FNATIC recover.
Just so well played as well. Had each other's back rotating round throughout the fight, and for a second, maybe look, a couple of kills are coming in. Though, as we saw, slipping past that turret only really guaranteed the one. The other three players all sat inside of the Viper's Pit. Just gets everything going against him. And this is that immense amount of damage that we saw.
Underneath the bullets.
It's unreal. Looks unbothered.
I just like it, but I am spamming.
I'm out of here.
There are still some Liquid fans in the crowd. Turns out they can get behind the boys in when they are down 6-0. Now again, pretty aggressive control coming in towards Mount here, trying to get hold of the orb, which it looks like Boaster's going to pick up. And that's a pretty early committal by Nats. I mean, we've seen FNATIC play really the first 40 seconds of most of these rounds, just dancing around spawn, deciding where to go, teasing in towards us where they can. It's a double swing coming on through. It's good mid-control established, but immediately it is snatched back by FNATIC.
Yeah, and even Sayf going down to 5 HP. I imagine he's going to try and rotate back around and get Jamppi to heal him up at least a bit. So it won't be the end of the world. First time we've kind of seen an early trade go in their favor. They've been caught up quite a bit. Jamppi able to go around the corner. That's a real support player right there. He's willing to go the extra mile to try and help out his team.
Got these guys that just won't wait for me to heal them. All they want to do is charge off again. That nurse and children. But for now, they still have the chance to fight things through in this 4 versus 4. For the first time it feels in a long time, Liquid are kind of fully geared here and able to contest into players on FNATIC's side.
And the thing is, it's just being made awkward. All that utility, the Viper screen locking out any real angles. Now they're going to go pushing back through. A stun up onto soulcas. He's completely stuck in the mud here, pushed through, and timing's not going to be the best. He at least wins that initial battle, but the trade is immediate.
Boaster's there ready, and Sayf's now going to poke his head through and hope for the very best. Elsewhere, it's Jamppi coming up against Chronicle. These two not realizing they're either side of this sound and bullet blocking screen. No one yet daring to cross. Chronicle bringing down Jamppi, changing responsibilities with Boaster, who was holding this angle previously back in the early game. But a 3 versus 2, and it feels once again that FNATIC will not be stopped.
They've managed to make their way into the site. Again, just trying to bait out any utility that they can, and pinged up by Leo. He's just going to double up to close the round. 7-0. And I like what you mentioned, the fact that they've now swapped that up between 3 different players.
Yeah,
Alpha has been left
too,
behind as well. So it's like every single time, like you're going to be commenting, okay, like Boaster's here, Boaster's on the side, so there's no longer this lag, there's no longer, and you can see Jamppi how long he took. He's like clearing everything, and even still he gets caught the second he tries to cross back into the site. There's no safe rotations right now, and more worryingly, I hate to say it, there's no safe either. 0 and 6. We mentioned this sort of duelist battle. Right now, he hasn't even entered the server yet.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, Derke being at 9 and 3, that +6 that he's got, could every single one be unsafe? Obviously it isn't, but that's the gap being established between these two players right now. We have got to see Sayf come online, but I look back to Kellogg's yesterday and think about how well he was playing on the Neon, the space that he was creating on this map, and you start to get a little bit of hope for Liquid after the half, but you got to get through this half first. Derke straight in, straight into spot and finds Jamppi as well, clearly expecting something else, but it's simply not to come. He just keeps on marching through, picks up 2. Who needs an ultimate?
I think Chronicle blinded, just trying for the spam. Sayf, there he goes, finally turns up into the server. Looking to try and take this one on his own. It's left all onto Alpha. He's gone for this rotation back through mid. I don't think they have any idea where he is. soulcas finally starting to realize it's a second crazy shot out from Alpha. The turret, but no! And he finally gets the kill! What is that from Alpha?
How on earth do you let that one happen? Just when it looked like Liquid was stepping back from the precipice, Alpha steps up and gives them a mighty "this is FNATIC" and boots them into the pits. This second kill is unbelievable. Just a snap onto the head here. Oh my God. You pay good money for a shot like that.
Oh my.
That is unreal. We haven't even had to see the clutch factor coming out of FNATIC yet in this game because they've dominated the macro. But now you're even seeing it when all the chips are down. What a round.
Well, that's the thing, and on the desk we had earlier, Sue was saying they haven't had much time to practice with Alpha. I'm going to tell you for free, you can't teach that. You just can't teach that.
No, you cannot.
That's why you wanted this man back in the roster at any means necessary. And that's the thing, that will break Liquid. You finally had a round. You had a round guaranteed. A 1v3. For the second couple of kills, you even knew where the man was.
Yeah. And he was putting a turret down in front of him as well. And, oh, sheer frustration. Sayf, though, has woken up. We saw him get 2 kills in the previous round. He started this one out onto his counterpart in Derke. We spoke about needing to get this trade back and start seeing things come online. It has slowly woken up. Nice to You're really enjoying this, aren't you?
Yeah, it's just the amount that they're attempting to do with this gun. Is he going to get caught? No, okay. I thought Redgar might just swing him after going for the reload. Again.
Well, there's 2 of them, but there is the bot on the floor as well, which would give everything away.
Playing into the late round.
30 seconds
It's something
left.
FNATIC has done regularly. The rotation this time looking like it's right, but the problem is those ults still favoring FNATIC. They've got a lockdown if they need it again. They catch the rotations. 3 players within this site, but they are being picked apart one by one. It's left on to Nats, and there is no clutch to be had for Liquid. 9-0.
Really half expected a big bait to come there out of FNATIC once they put the fade ult across site to turn straight on towards B and see what can be retrieved from there. What a 9 rounds we've had. I know it's been one-sided, and sometimes one-sided games can be so boring, but when you're seeing FNATIC pull things off with such finesse, it's a joy to watch.
That's the thing. This is why we talk about them as the best team in the world. Like, they are methodical to the nth degree. They can take their time, go down to the last 30, 40 seconds and make it look like they had the full minute and a half left on the clock. Like, they are not stressing in any of these scenarios. The trades have been sublime. There's not a player missing within the server. Lurking as well has just been off the charts. The amount of times they could just seamlessly swap someone out and go, okay, now you're lurking behind, now you're waiting behind. And then even just the small pieces like the Odin just to counter any aggression, like anything Liquid are trying to do to just stop them having all the control and all the decisions they could ever want, just gets denied by a man spamming a wall with an Odin. It's just rough for Liquid. And that was my main worry. They've come into this map, they've changed nothing. So in other words, they've given Boaster and Mini every single tool they could ever need to counter this composition. And honestly, for the most part, I don't think they've needed to counter that much. They've not been challenged throughout the server, but they are making things look very, very easy. And I think something you pointed out as well is their ult orb management has just been sublime. Like, think they've had an ult basically every single round. Something they can use in the late round, which just goes, okay, this site is now clear, this site is now clear, this site is now clear.
And even when the chips are down, we saw, for example, the Viper's Pit ult, the beautiful use of it in the 4 versus 5 to make sure they still had the advantage.
Yep.
You saw the lockdown come through when they pushed in towards B. Just everything they've done has been so calculated. And it's not like, you know, oh, okay, we overcome a little bit of gun skill and we're absolutely fine. Or, oh, we show a little bit of aggression, we're absolutely fine. Because you unpick that first layer, there's still 2 or 3 more things that you have to figure out against FNATIC to really slow them down.
Well, our tech timeout has moved into a Liquid timeout, one where they maybe need a little bit more to just focus up. The thing is, like, going into that attack side, if you can get Sayf going strong, maybe there's a chance of a turnaround, but you need some rounds. You can't let this go in at a 12-0 half, and even at 9-3, I'm going to be brutal and say I don't think it's enough, but they need something, even just to get them into that second map. Like, Haven is a map where I think it's one that you can challenge even just off some individual basis. I think it's one where FNATIC are heavily, heavily favored, But if you're coming in this cold, that's a 13-0.
That's the scary part. Imagine, with the way things are going, if this one turns into a 13-0, what possibly could be awaiting them when it comes to Haven.
Yeah.
As we know, FNATIC map pick, second favourite map they've got in their whole pool. It just looks brutal, and Fractured does look like a very distant dream at this time. Not just for us as viewers, but most definitely for Team Liquid. Timeout over. That's the only breather that Team Liquid are now allowed. Everything else is a straight slog all the way up to the half. And this could be a very bruising 3 rounds, not just for the players, but for their egos as well.
Yeah, and that's the rough thing. This has been built up as a grudge match. But rightly so. Rightly so. These were going into the year, the 2 super teams, the organizations that spent the big bucks to get the best, the cream of the crop, took them from all over to try and build these rosters. FNATIC's passing with flying colors. Like, they have surpassed everything that ever could have been wanted.
Really trying to make a go of it here as well. And I love how they kept on making use of the Omen smoke here as well, just to give them that kind of like feet level height. If someone does try and step forward, you're absolutely screwed. You're going to get gatted down as soon as you try and step anywhere near that Omen as it chugs away. Here rotating instead over towards B. Really, if nothing else, maintaining control of the orb, so when FNATIC do want to commit numbers and utility to get control of them, as you're going to see now.
I like this from Liquid. Finally, like, having some control. Like, having that deep A control. They used the Shadow Step to get them into position. They also had Sayf there initially in case they challenged.
Oh, what is this? Going to be a second stepping out. No, there isn't. Backs away just about in time, and here comes that lockdown. The beauty here as well is that he can still hold the angle with the Oni, because they're going to get forced either on towards Sight or into his waiting arms. One tries to go for the challenge in the sky, but backs away immediately. Sight control very much established here for the side of FNATIC as they keep on marching through. And Redgar does finally shut down that pesky Odin, but Sight control has been lost. Oh, Derke in backside there went a little bit too deep there.
Oh, they're starting to clear them out. Good work from Jamppi. Only one man watching that flank now. It's left on to Alpha. TP across. He's going to hear it. He's going to expect it. And he's spaced out both. Again, every time there's a chance, this man just puts a spanner in the works. It is clear to see why FNATIC have missed him. And now they can go into that filthy afterplan. Just sat back waiting in their crossfire. Anybody taps that spike, they've got the peak. Good flash. And this time, they managed to decimate Alfajer. He's not clutching out this one. And Team Liquid, they finally have a round.
We can breathe a collective sigh of relief. I imagine the only danger looking at it is that you aren't going to have many of their players coming into the next round on full buys. Whereas a FNATIC, they had a maxed out, I believe one of the players was completely maxed out on 9k credits. Was it Leo? No. Boaster was sat on 9k credits.
I think Alpha was as well.
They have got plenty of cash to make sure they can just go back into another full buy, whereas Liquid don't have that same pleasure, I don't believe.
They're not in a bad spot. Low shields on a few players, but the thing is, most teams are doing that anyway. Utility seems to be maxed. But again, I like the adaptation, just like allowing them to have a little bit more space over onto the A site. Quick flank as well, that's not something they've had. They haven't been able to flank FNATIC at all. They've always been caught on the rotation. And again, we're going to see the same push-up. Now, no Odin this time. It has been removed, maybe because Chronicle got killed while trying to spray someone down with it. He's decided, you know what? I'm going to stick my rifle this time.
Are they going to push back for this mound control? Because that seems to have been their primary focus when it comes to trying to get control of the orb. Collecting that for the team, again, keeping padding things out. That seems to have been where they've started the vast majority of these rounds. But here, just leaving Boaster to hold it himself, expecting a push round to come in from Liquid when they realise that the orb has not been taken. It feels for most of FNATIC, even without that Odin, the A is going to be their entry point.
Yeah, I think not wanting this control to be kept. Redgar up above, it's something that is quite a common position. But while they start to pressure onto Redgar, the rest of the team, or at least in the form of Sayf, start to push up. The Seekers is going to give them that information as well. So it's a good read once again. And Boaster going down, that's a huge difference maker. They don't have that flank anymore, but they do get the opener.
Just thought for a second there he might be cheeky enough to fire 1 or 2. Straight in towards the back of the site goes Derke as well, propelled on forward. They've got a bit of a crossfire coming in, 1 in towards Tree. Derke coming in from the side, and they are absolutely crushing them where they stand. 2 players left to face against the onslaught of these 4 FNATIC players.
The flank from Sayf just a little bit further behind, and Alpha again is going to catch him on that rotation. Nats, we definitely haven't seen the best of him so far, but unfortunately that's not going to come up here either. 10-1, a blip on the radar of FNATIC, and even though this round started off pretty decently with managing to close out some of those aggressive players. These executes onto the A site. The clinical nature of FNATIC just being able to clear out these spots with too much trouble at all. I also want to give some credit over to Leo as well. I think every time he's been using a haunt in onto the site, it seems to just catch 2 or 3 players, and they're always revealed for Derke. And if Derke has the info, Derke's getting the kill.
They've used it quite intelligently in a couple of these rounds, putting it in behind walls or behind smokes as well to try and feed that information where it's best required. And that's really meant the other side has been able largely to deal with it, including the pressure coming in from players like Derke, who, as you say, are just charging in to play off the back of that util. Just really rapid aggression where you're being choked out by the information, but also by the players pushing on their way through. I love Sayf, by the way. Not bothered with any armor, has given up on trying to take a rifle, up on side.
Let's be real, at this point, try whatever you can.
Absolutely. Clearly the normal stuff isn't working, so let's go a little bit loopy.
Oh, he's definitely someone who has donned the op and sniper in other games for quite a time, so no doubt that he can make it work. We'll get the opener, but it's an instant trade onto Redgar. Not the greatest of starts, but hey, at least bringing things back slightly more even with the weaponry they have on other players.
I mean, Redgar was a sacrificial lamb. Someone had to die there for him to be able to get away with it. Out comes the ultimate as well from Boaster as they charge on through. No one on the side though. Oh, Nats looks completely the wrong way. Derke turns for another, gets himself 2 charges back already. Not that it matters, as this round is pretty much done and dusted. Sayf can try all he likes, but that Viper Pit again being pulled out at just the right time.
In this post plant, I don't know how they stand a chance. Derke so aggressively placed, especially with a Viper's Pit down. You're not going to expect him to be here. They are looking to clear those angles. Actually, the flash is perfect. That's at least the start. Now, having an operator going into a Viper's Pit, that's not going to help you. There needs to be a gun found, and Sayf has found it. But there's so much left to do.
TY Derke gives the rifle on side and at least giving a little bit of renewed chance here in the 2v3, but that time waits for no one. It is ticking on down. Jamppi finds one. Can he perk into a second as well? No, that he can't. It's back the other way. Sayf's going to try what he wants. Taps one, but time is pretty much done here. Doesn't matter if he finds the kill. You will not collect it anyway. Chronicle with the close. An 11-1 half of FNATIC as they move over to the defense.
Switching sides.
Well, that's about as brutal as it could possibly get. A map hit coming in for Liquid. They get 1 round in the first half. I just hope they have something prepared when it comes to the next one. And even if they do, if they don't win the pistol, Des, they're going to have to go into Haven and try and reverse sweep.
Just go into Haven against FNATIC and just reverse sweep it.
Yeah, just casual.
Mate, you should be a coach. Like, have you ever thought about applying?
Just win. That's what I've heard before.
Just win forehead is the only real way I can summarize it. Now, we have, of course, got our half-time. We're going to go to a very special interview with Boaster talking to an ex-teammate.
Not quite Boaster just yet, Des, maybe after the match, but I am joined by Special, a professional League of Legends player, and who used to know Boaster very, very well. In fact, Special, when Boaster worked on Excel as a cameraman, a vlogger, he used to sit in the audience and watch you play professionally in the LEC. And today, you've got the opportunity to sit in the audience and watch him play. So how surreal is this moment?
I mean, this is like an amazing moment for me because I obviously worked with him right in Excel back in the day. And now having it switched around is such a cool feeling. Like, I am the one watching him, and I mean, they're crushing as well, right? It honestly couldn't be any better.
Yeah, that does help. Now, I think a lot of people behind the scenes, they talk about how his esports journey has been a bit of a roller coaster. You know, he tried to go pro in League of Legends, it failed, and now he is a Valorant player on stage. You were there, a part of that journey when he tried to go pro. So talk me through, you know, how hard of a grind was it really for him?
I mean, honestly, from the start, I could already see he has the right mentality to go pro. It's just, it can cost a lot of time and effort, and he was trying so much to get better that in a short time he got so much better at League of Legends, and him putting his efforts from, well, CSGO basically now to Valorant, and then using that is actually incredible. It doesn't surprise me because I've never really met anyone with a work ethic like that.
You knew he was going to make it.
Yeah, I did.
And lastly, again, you've known him for many, many years. What's he like off the server?
I mean, he's such an energetic person. Like, it's amazing to be around. It's great. It's always happy vibes, joking around, and I mean, sometimes I miss it, you know, because it's like, it's a lovely guy. Like, seriously, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be really happy to see that you're here supporting him as well. Thank you very much, Special.
Thank
and
you.
We'll see how FNATIC can do in the second half as I pass this back to Des and Tom.
I don't remember. That wasn't Boaster. I know that Sue and Boaster look kind of similar, and they do spend a lot of time together. But I think he's on the server, right?
You are the worst person in the world.
You know what? I love my man Sam. I'm not going to throw him in the deep end on this one. No, Sam, I'm not throwing you in the deep end.
You're not throwing Sam by name-dropping him and saying that...
Nah, all right then, fine. Producer's telling me. Producer gave me the wrong call. Our bad guys.
It was correct to me. Like, can you just not read?
Shut your mouth. You know, your job is to be smart. Be smart about the game. Go on, talk us into it.
Liquid, tough task, got win lots round in row.
Sorry, I was talking to Sam. He's more important for a conversation than you.
That's true, to be honest. At this point, he could probably give a little bit more insight, because I think turning this round for Liquid is going to need a miracle. I think that's the best way to put it. Pistol round would be a good start. Already claiming a decent amount of control back. FNATIC, both teams seemingly having a heavier C lean in the early stages of the round.
It feels like the classic move. Start C, get the orb, rotate over towards A. If you see a lot of resistance, cut through baby door in towards B. It's the go-to standard. I've determined that after probably watching 3 or 4 maps of it.
You know. Well.
That's all that's required.
Okay.
Pretty naughty. Straight headshot through the smoke as well. Liquid have got control of B.
Yeah, they've also got control of A. You've got Jamppi just sat deep after basically getting rid of all of the utility that was there. Boaster going to be pushing back through. Nice work from Redgar. There is a trade, but a 4 versus 2 situation. This pistol looks like it's on lock.
Here's a good start. It's exactly what Liquid wanted. They didn't want to be walking out of their own map choice down 13-1. But here, tucked into the corner, right in front of your face, buddy. How's it going? Down he goes to the nade as well. At least 1 back for Derke, but there are still 3 more to find in a 2 versus 3 with about, what, 10 seconds to pull it off?
Last player standing.
Simply not going to happen, is it?
How many does Derke get? That's the only real worry, but no. Good start from Liquid. At least getting something into this second half. Of course, it is going to be a mountain to climb as ever, but at least they've managed to get themselves a pistol. And on the other side of things, I imagine FNATIC are probably not going to invest too much. Focus on those 4 buys. You only need to get 2 rounds and this is over.
That's it. Focus on the next round here and just see what you can possibly pull out here. Maybe a Sheriff or 2 on side to dance with death a little, though by the looks of it, no. Completely holding out, at least for now. For Liquid, as you say, it's still a big mountain for them to climb back and fight their way into this one. It feels almost impossible. So it does feel impossible. Not even almost, it does feel impossible. We'll give them a chance. An aggressive push from FNATIC out towards C here as well. We've never seen this kind of push come out from Liquid, but FNATIC really want to take the fight in towards spawn here. If they're looking towards B, they might find one. Chronicle's found one on a swing out as well. Good bit of team play.
No.
There are 4 players coming in from behind here. What is that for a pistol force?
Oh, no.
And they've got the Spectre.
Oh, this is starting to get really worrying. This would basically just crush them, maybe even for the next map as well. I was hoping this would be a confidence builder for some of the players, and Jamppi's just been dinked up as well. Redgar finally gets the first kill on the board. Stun up is going to force them back in towards the site. The remaining players of FNATIC, they're being held by a fragment for now, but they'll start their rotation.
It's a good hold by soulcas as well, that Bulldog bullying FNATIC away. Still have the 1 on side to work with. It's Redgar off towards the left. Leo finds 1. Down to a 1 versus 1. Is this actually doable? Feels like it might be if he gets the read first, but doesn't find it. soulcas completes the 3K. A little bit precarious there for Liquid, but they hold on.
A little bit. They almost lost a round to what was, I think, 1 ghost and
spawn.
4 classics. Like that was far more than a little bit.
They didn't start out with a Spectre. They picked it up off the kill they got on B.
Yeah, no. I think they just literally had classics and a ghost. Like it's an absurdity. And now you look at what they're going to have to come in with here. There's already an Odin on board for Chronicle. I'm not even surprised by that anymore. And it's basically everything invested here. If Liquid don't win this round, it is basically GG.
Whew. Okay. Hopefully this time around, no really aggressive pushes in towards spawn. Absolutely not. But Derke starts out with 1. At least some A control established, but at the cost of Sayf. Doesn't really feel worth it, does it?
Not worth it, no.
Because now they're probably going to have to back away anyway, because again, with all the walls being lined up, 2 players still holding on to A. Of course, that knowledge being taken really away from the side of Liquid. Our mobility, we've got stacked up as well out towards C and B. Players on A, everything else the other side of the map.
They're slowly looking to make their way forward. The thing is, you've got Killjoy utility here, and you've got Chronicle sat there as well. Maybe trying to make sure they just can't be caught out by KO util. Now, Redgar has managed to take the site. This is not really being challenged for, although with an Odin, it might just be an attempted wallbang if he tries to go for the plant. The thing is, the rest of the team may be looking to try and head into B as this is a bit of a ruse. And again, Redgar is going to find them an opener, pulling some players away. But in fact, the attack might actually just move that direction themselves.
I mean, he's got control and he's baited the TP out, which really makes the defenders think here, okay, they're rotating off towards B. It was really good use of the door, but FNATIC, they ain't messing around with this one. They still find a kill for themselves. And TL have got to work their way forwards. They've managed to get full site control now, 3 players in. That we have got 2 angles being set up. That Odin just will not stop making an appearance. They get a couple back on the side. There's only one left, and it's soulcas all by himself to hold against them all with 13 seconds on the clock. Alfajer with the collection. Match points coming right up.
Yeah, you could see why they want that Odin on that side of the map. The classic default plant spot, it's just so easy to spam through it. So even Boaster just goes, picks it back up and just denies them once again. I also love just the sheer confidence you're getting out of the FNATIC players right now. Like, Alpha dives through the smoke just to kill off Redgar and just give them that advantage straight back into things. 12-3. 1 round of the next 9. There's only one team I know that could turn this around, and unfortunately Liquid are against them.
And it's probably, even on any map it feels, given how this game has gone, they could do it on as well, not just on Icebox. Here we go.
Out of here.
I just love that someone's actually peeking with an Odin as well. It's absolutely ludicrous.
Well, the Let's Go Liquids are still chiming out. I appreciate the optimism, the support for the team, but
that's all it is at this point, I'm afraid. It's actually FNATIC fans that are also chanting along with it.
Hey, you know, you want
they want their gods to be challenged, to show their real power.
Well, I think they have shown their real power. Sayf, he's going to try and just fight deep into the site. He's definitely not shown his best so far in this map, but they will get themselves into an afterplan. Weaponry still heavily in favor of FNATIC and Redgar. Actually going, TPing into the A site. He's trying to clear them out from behind, like wrap around on that flank. Leo is looking in the wrong direction. He might actually have a kill for free.
But the paranoia might give him away if he's not too careful either. No, doesn't bring it out at that exact moment. We've already seen Liquid rotating. Their ultimate's through, trying to see what they can pull off here as well. They do get one from the backside. That might put a little bit of panic into this FNATIC side, because now they're aware that in the background they've got to deal with one. They find Jamppi. Nade comes out as well, nice and close, not quite expecting, but 3 kills come in for FNATIC. They forced it down to a 2 versus 2. Redgar, the one that's been popping off in the round, but that's going to be the spike going off here, and FNATIC, despite their best efforts, will not be able to hold on. Liquid make it 4.
Huge round from Redgar. Absolutely unbelievable. Like, managing to come through on that flank, a really risky TP from the shadows over into that A site, and then just wiping them out on the flank. It seemed like FNATIC had absolutely no idea of where he was. He's currently 17 and 15 at the moment. The IGL still performing to a decent standard. Unfortunately, there hasn't been much else for this roster on an individual level. Now, the buy from FNATIC is definitely not perfect. A piece or 2 missing, but we've seen them do more with less.
What kind of craziness can they employ here if they really want to make this work? I love how, by the way, we've got the real disparity of buys here. That you have an Odin in one player and a Sheriff in another.
Yeah, you know.
Literally playing from top to bottom here. So I imagine Alpha's probably looking here to play a couple of his teammates, collect the rifles away off the back of it, and it's a potluck kind of chance in this round, it feels. Both teams having to go through the wall and no one falling down, but some damage definitely being taken. Derke coming off the worst for wear on it too.
For sure. Maybe you should leave the wall banging over to Chronicle. He seems to be the maestro of it so far. Him and Alpha have been doing their work. Oh, he's gone back for more.
Serious?
The man is desperately low on HP, but seems to have absolutely no fear. And actually, because of that, they've fallen back off this position. Haunt out. Not actually going to find too much. Spike's still lurking outside of A, but it might be that same move again. Redgar did an incredible job of just selling an initial fake in towards this C site, and you can already see the beginning of rotations coming through from the FNATIC players as they look to go in the other direction.
Do they know? There's enough utility that went down there to maybe convince FNATIC, but I feel like they've read into it a little bit too intelligently. You can see a couple of players angling out towards B, almost as if they're ready to commit to it. But now they get the read. It could have been a second for Derke, but no. Jamppi gets the shutdown, site control established, and this is when FNATIC all start their rotate over.
Yeah, he'll get Seekers. That's the one ultimate they're going to have ready for this afterplant position. Can maybe get a little bit of information as to where they're coming from. Allow for those rotations to come in of his teammate.
There it comes. All the Seekers racing on up here, may even catch out onto one as well on the short range side of things. Haunt goes to reveals location, but a full flash comes in, and Jamppi goes into another. Really making himself important in this round before finally being shut down by Leo. 3 still standing for FNATIC, and they've got 2 more to find. They get 1.
Oh no! He doesn't expect him to be that close. Left onto Nats in the clutch scenario though. Into the 1v1, time being bought on the spike, and Nats will keep it going a little longer. Team Liquid cling to life with 1 man standing and 5 on the board.
Another clutch coming out. Question for you, Tom. At what point do you start to believe?
12.
That's not very British of you. We love an underdog normally.
I do love an underdog. Unfortunately, I'm not delusional. And we're going into a round where FNATIC, okay, you go, oh, look, the buy's not great. It's a Guardian, pistols, but they have all 5 ults online. That, for me, is enough. They might not even use any of them in this round and just save them for the next, but they're going to have multiple opportunities with their ultimates. Now, we spoke about it on their attack side. When FNATIC had ults, even just one, that was enough to close a round. Almost every single time, they would make things very awkward. You give this team 5 ults, I'm not going to lie to you, I wouldn't even be surprised if they close it here.
And that really speaks volumes when that's their biggest consideration, right? Do we invest all 5 ults and try and win it now? Or do we wait for the following round when we have a bye?
Yeah.
And can then guarantee it over there? That's kind of a measure of ego, I think. It's really going to come down to, have they got the self-assuredness to close things out here and now? Or do we need one more? But I really think this timeout is going to be exactly what they need to get their head straight here and stop what's slowly, very slowly, starting to be a momentum builder for Team Liquid.
But as I said,
it tells you a lot when 4 players aren't into double-digit kills 17 rounds in.
Yeah, it's not been great. It's been a rough time, and we hyped up Sayf, and thus far he's yet to deliver. Still plenty of time in this series to turn that around. Sees nade early. Just look at the utility combinations being used by FNATIC to just garner that extra space. Allow Derke to shut down one side of the map. He's got a showstopper as well, so if they try and pressure him too heavily, he might just be able to end it here and now. And look at the rest of the players of FNATIC. Splitting themselves between C and B. They have a very, very fast rotation if Liquid double up into this site.
This is very similar to the holds that we saw out of Liquid in, I'd wager probably at least a quarter of the rounds back in the first half. 3 sat on C, 1 was in towards B and 1 was on A. But their positions are so much further forward. The fact that you've got Derke holding up really close and tight on towards A main, and then also got 1 holding much closer on B, I believe it's Boaster, looking to pressure in towards Orb again. It's always been these similar spots. They don't even need the Orbs in these rounds, but it's denying resources away from Liquid.
The Boombot has caught at least 1 player, so instantly FNATIC start rotating back, but Liquid are reading into this themselves. B site seems to be their best bet. Boaster just playing around a single smoke, waiting within it. He's going to try and survive. I don't know how he's alive, but he's run out of bullets. Quickly decimated. Leo's found 1, but Sayf just looks to take control.
And those are the ones there as well. Great read in, and they have absolutely strung on their way through into sight here. Derke's in a 1 versus 2, has the ultimate on side. Does he believe in himself? Not quite as much as Nats does in himself. That's it though, because as we said, they've been quite conservative there. They've held on to the ultimates.
Yeah.
And now they get a 4 buy.
Yeah, now they get a 4 buy and 5 ults. That's the thing. If Liquid survive this round, genuinely, then maybe I start to believe. Because if you can beat FNATIC with a 4 buy and 5 ults, then we're talking. Now things get interesting. I still think it's going to be incredibly difficult, even if they do manage to get through this, but that's the toughest thing of all. Like, you've got a lockdown, you've got a Viper's Pit. Like, these are high-impact ults. A showstopper as well. Nightfall. If you need a retake, you've got everything you could ever need. So I don't think this is going to be an easy one for Liquid by any stretch of the imagination.
I think even if Liquid lose the game here as well, you know, I think they've proved that probably a lot of this comes down to the sides on this map as well. You know, FNATIC were up 11 rounds on the attacking side. Liquid have only dropped 1 of their attacks so far, and have looked mostly convincing. Sure, a couple of rounds they've won out clutches, but have shown up that, you know, we're not absolute clowns. We're not getting rolled over 13-1, 13-0, for example. It still feels competitive, even if we don't get to see every single round in this half.
Yeah, I will say maybe they'll hesitate a little bit more when picking this map again. If they need to put a little bit of work in on the defensive side, but you've definitely got a point. They are showing that they have
It's not the
Definitely.
rollover I think we all thought, what,
Yeah.
5-6 rounds ago.
Here we go, though. Again, just basically playing plant denial over on that defensive side. Lockdown available if they want to try and put it in. For now, at least hesitating a little bit. Maybe have the read wrong as they start to go back in the other direction. Spam through is going to do so much. These Odins have just caused issues, and now Chronicle watching his buddy from the sidelines. Lockdown now thrown in. This is looking bleak.
They've all got to back away. The thing is, they hadn't got the spike down here, so actually, it's far from the end of the world. They're going to hard rotate off in towards B and bring out the Viper's Pit as well. The Fade Ult rolls across. Everything being dunked into such a small room here. They've got to find the kills, but it's Alfajer to collect a 3. Makes it his map, 13 and 6 to FNATIC.
Yeah, an impressive display. The inevitable confirmed. Didn't think they were going to make it through that round, but the fact is, the 2 entries they got actually had nothing to do with the ults. Just showing the power of the Odin on this map, which I'm sure Mitch will be very happy about,
Delighted.
as it is his favorite weapon of choice, but also just the sheer depth of this roster. Alpha, an incredible game. Derke looked fantastic, but there really wasn't a missing piece when it came to FNATIC, and that was their opponent's map choice.